What's going on, guys? It's Red Bull Tanker, and welcome back to Historical Board Gaming's The Korean War. This is turn 12, the final turn. And as you can see, quite a bit shifted on the map. So let's get right to it. Alright, North Korea started with 40 IPC. They paid off 10 damage to the Seoul factory and purchased 10 infantry with the remaining 30. They did not conduct any combat this turn. They just dug in deep and hoped for the best. China didn't do anything. They just collected their 35, and that was it, since China did not get into the war. So definitely something that's definitely is going to have to be something to look at for that. South Korea. All right, this is where some of the big stuff came. All right, South Korea collected 18 IPC. They didn't do any purchases because it was the last turn. Combat. They did one major thing of combat. They took every available force from Yongdok and Andong and attacked the massive North Korean army here in Sonju. The South Koreans attacked. Let me get, trying to center it. Oh, whatever. Oh, I screwed up my one thing. I had a whole thing set up for all of the I had something set up for all the casualties that happened. And now I just screwed up the one for this battle. Shoot. All right, but anyways, so for Wonju, let me see if I can. I at least want to get it into the camera. Okay, so for Wonju, the South Koreans launched an attack with 37 infantry, 1 artillery, and 2 mech, facing off against 12 North Korean infantry, 9 North Korean artillery, a mech, and 4 tanks. The battle did go 5 rounds. It went 5 rounds, and by the end of the fight, I mean, you can kind of, so this is kind of how the progression of everything went. And at the end of 5 rounds, the North Koreans lost their 12 infantry, 9 artillery, 1 mech, and 4 tank. And the South Koreans lost, oh wait. The South Koreans lost 24 out of the 37 infantry. The hit ratios between the two were actually pretty decent for both sides on this one, especially since most of the South Koreans were hitting on ones. The dice gods were looking favorably on them. And then for the non-combat, the South Koreans just pushed up into Pohang, pushed up into Ondok, and that was kind of that. All right, the U.S. The U.S. collected 50 IPC this turn on top of the 60 that they saved from last turn, so they had 110 to spend. They didn't spend it, again, last turn. Combat. All right, first, this regiment from the 3rd Infantry Division came down from Chuncheon and took out the 2 North Korean AAA batteries that were defending Kangyung. Next, the bulk of the 7th Division and its forces, along with a mech and some supplies, amphibious up here to the 38th parallel east and took that for the Allies. Next, 10th Corps attacked into Seoul. That battle lasted 3 rounds, and these were the casualties for 10th Corps. The North Koreans lost 10 infantry, 1 mech, and 4 fighters. The U.S. lost 1, 2, 3, 4. They lost 4 infantry, 4 infantry, and a mech. The U.S. also did go into this fight with the bulk of 10th Corps, which in total was actually, so let's see, that was 4 infantry, 1 mech, or no, No. Why do I have this wrong? No, it was 5 infantry, 1 mech. Ah, I didn't write it down. Why did I not have it written down? Rats. Hey, okay, so either way, yeah. So the Allies did take Seoul. The U.S. did lose, lost the more units from the 3rd Infantry Division, and also lost the entire 1st Marine Division as well, trying to take the city. So the 5th Armor is all that holds Seoul at this present time. And then finally, the U.S. Redoubled their efforts to take Osan. The North Koreans had 6 artillery defending. The U.S. attacked. They were supported by a smaller number of fighters, and that was one thing too with the Battle of Seoul. Like in Seoul, the U.S. went in with 8 aircraft, 8 fighters, and a strategic bomber supporting that assault. And then in Osan, they had 4 fighters, and a strat going into the Battle of Osan. And that battle went 2 rounds, and at the end of it, the North Koreans lost their 6 artillery, and then the U.S. got very lucky. They only lost 2 units. They lost what was left of the 2nd Infantry Division, and then they lost a regiment from the 25th Infantry Division as well. Then for the non-combats, the U.S. just moved some supplies up to Wigwang and up to Sangju. The 40th Division with its armor support landed in Busan. Like I said, they weren't going to be able to do anything for the end of the game. And that was that. Over to the UN. The UN collected 20 on top of the 8 that they saved. They collected 28. Didn't purchase anything. For combat, they took 1 infantry. Went up there and took 38th West. Almost didn't do it. Yeah, I almost didn't actually do this landing. But then I initially thought that if I at least did this landing and I won here, it would be a tie. It would be a tiebreaker for the game. At least that's what I thought. If I took that and won this, it would be a tie. But so we went into the Battle of Chochan. The offshore bombardment. The battleship once again. Or no. Oh, sorry. I was reading the other turn because it's still on the same page. Both the destroyer and the battleship got a hit. So they got the Allied naval bombardment actually did something this turn, and then after 2 rounds, the North Koreans lost 3 infantry, a mech, and 4 tanks, and the UN forces lost 1 infantry, 5 mech, a tank, and a fighter. And that is this right up here. And then this was Osan, and this was Seoul, and then like I said, this was Wonju. And so then on the non-combat, the UN moved some supplies to Daejeon. Their fighters went back to the carrier in Daejeon. And like I said, the U.S. non-combat back to their fighters back to Sangju. And that was it. So total-wise, again, to win the game, you have to have the most territory at the end of the game. At the end of turn 12, whoever holds the most territory wins the game. By my count, and I counted several dozen times, North Korea came away with 19 territories, and the Allies came away with 20. So the Allies won the game. Again, I thought I was going for a draw with taking these 2. I didn't realize that I was actually going to win the game. And like I said, I almost didn't do this. So actually, the game would have been a draw if I hadn't gone into 38th West. But so, excuse me. And honestly, I think the luck came from the fact that my offshore bombardments actually got the hits that they needed to help clear that out. But so yeah, that is the end of the game. We've hit all 12 turns. Like I keep saying, there's definitely stuff in the rule book that definitely needs to change. Some stuff that needs to be cleared up. But overall, it's a fun game. And so on Tuesday, so in 2 days, Airsoft Commando will be here. We'll give you guys one more video as far as our final thoughts on the game. We definitely have some thoughts about the Allies being able to do amphibious assaults at the very end of the game, considering the limited capacity that North Korea at least has in defending both coastlines, especially if China is not in the game. So be on the lookout for that. That should be coming out probably Wednesday, or either late Tuesday night or Wednesday. But so that is it for this one, guys. And we will see you. We'll see you for the final thoughts video. So until then, guys, as always, take care.